What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we're gonna go over the chassis and the setup on the suspension and all the little pieces that we have added to this car. For you guys who have just joined the channel, this car has been a 758 in the quarter mile, and recently it's been 478 in the 8 mile, and the highest 8 mile trap is 159 miles an hour. I'll show you a clip of that pass. Yeah, so basically it's nothing out of the ordinary. There's a few mods here and there that we can go over, but we'll start from the interior. The interior has a 25.5 NHRA spec cage. It has the top crossbar, and it's basically certified for 750 in the quarter mile. It's got I believe this is Stroud. It's got a Stroud window net, and it's got all the safety features. It's got fire extinguisher with nozzles everywhere. There's nozzles in the cabin, there's nozzles in the engine bay. It's got a CO2 bottle, nitrous bottle for spool. The battery is in the middle there. It's got this beautiful Multec C127. As you can see, it's got the bezel to make it flush. I'll put a description below on where I got that bezel. It's got a Multec M150 hidden down there with a Multec keypad to control all the functions. It's got a typical sequential shifter, so neutral, first, second, third. That's how you shift, but nothing out of the ordinary inside. Pretty stock looking. The heater core has been removed. The electric window motors have been removed. The central locking has been removed. The window has been screwed kind of shut like that just to save some weight. There's no seats in the back. That's a big catch can back there. I mean, nothing's cut out of the car inside or outside. It's a stock body, but we tried to remove any weight that we could. So that's basically the inside. The rear suspension setup, let's see if I can make it viewable here. So we got induction performance anti-roll bar that comes with the end links here, and it comes with the upper control arms. As you can see, it's adjustable upper control arm, and they come with like spherical bearings, so there's no bushings. These here are IKEA formula. They're like spacers that go over the stock bushing, kind of makes it a little more sturdy. Penske 7500 DA coilovers. You got Buck Performance. Those are the traction arms. They are also adjustable, as you can see. Strange brakes. All the bearings that were, all the bushings that were here, I replaced them to solid spherical bearings, so there's no play. What else we got? The fuel tank has been removed. It's just a cover, and as you can see here, there's the transcooler. Transcooler is a TruCool, it's called. I'll put a link in the description below. It's a very big cooler. It's one side to the other. Let's see if I can go there. There, you can see the other end of it. Massive cooler. I think it's 24 inches long. I got PHR solid diff mounts here, and the diff is a drive shaft chop 9-inch, so it's a strange center section. It's got the drive shaft chop axles, pro level axles. Inside the diff there's a 411 gear set, and it's a 35 spline spool in there also. There's your Penske coilovers again. can see underneath there's a carbon fiber drive shaft. Those are the cooler lines. This big white hose is the catch can hose that goes to the back. Let's go on this side. Alright, so we got this cross member here is part of the cage, so it just disconnects from here. That's the laser ride height sensor. That's a drain for the hose gets filled with oil. That's the catch can hose. You got transmission charge pressure, Rossler XHD TH400 with a Pro Torque converter. See, all the wiring has been replaced. There's a transmission temperature sensor, external down valve for the trans brake over there, Pro Torque converter with the ATF mid plate. As you can see, is the new mid plate that is able to be removable, and the beautiful billet block. That's a Magnus Motorsports dry sump pan. It's got, as you see there, that big aluminum Y piece is where it joins the catch can hoses, and it goes all the way to the back. Got Cody Phillips belly pan. Let's go. Front suspension. Strange brakes, nothing fancy. Oh, the rear brakes are also strange brakes, so there's no e-brake anymore. The e-brake stuff was removed. We got Weld, I believe S77 beadlock wheels. These are Weld Alumni Star 2.0 15-inch. What do we got here? So Penske shocks, again 7500 DA. These I was using as a height limiter, and it didn't work well, so I kind of removed it and left it there for now. But the front suspension is pretty stock. The only difference is the shocks. The power steering rack is still there. All I did is I put a plate on the motor, so there's no fluid or motor going through it. Vibrant clamps on all the intercooler piping. Yeah, so that's the front suspension. We got some covers here to block the fronts, just for aerodynamic, but nothing fancy down here. Just basically a belly pan. Stock side skirts. If we go on this side of the car, like I said, the heater core has been removed. The cage runs through the dash, so it's empty in there. Suppression system, 150 shot of nitrous. This just for spool, literally. There's a blow off tube here, so if it reaches pressure, it blows under the car. You can see that hose there. This is a vent for the battery. So as per NHRA, the battery has to be vented outside. There's a shut-off switch, and I have a cable running to the back, and there's a mechanism back there that the minute you push the lever in the back, it undoes the battery shut-off. The alternator wire comes to this side, so if you try to shut it off, the alternator is not going to connect to the car. Parachute handle, pretty standard parachute. This is a bracket from Sharky's. Basically, it just replaces the rear cross member, or whatever crash bar they call it, and it just bolts to it. Maybe you can see it from here. Yeah, right there. See? It's pretty simple. 4 bolts. Yeah. Simpson 10-foot skyjacker. Back here we have the catch can, as you've seen. So everything pushes to the back, and I have a little hole back here. That's the catch can. So if you look inside, probably can't see, but that's where the catch can fumes come out from. And everything's stock in the back. I cut these fender walls here to clear the tire. I used to have a cage in there, the Cusco cage. That's why you see that like plate thing there. But yeah, that's the chassis pretty much. We removed the wipers. No power steering, no air conditioning. The alternator's still there, so the car still charges like it was from factory. That is a Tundra alternator, so it's been upgraded also to, I believe, 250 amps, and it's got a smaller pulley. That's why it doesn't blow up all the time, so it rotates less. This is the oil tank, 2-gallon Peterson oil tank. We use pen grade. I use pen grade 50 weight oil. That's the oil we use. I love that oil. The car runs on methanol fuel, so it's M1 fuel. More details, we can go over the engine real quick. The engine bay. Back to the chassis stuff. I have a Buck Performance brake booster delete. Very nice piece. The pedal is very, very firm. Nice billet piece. Cleans up the engine bay. I don't have a proportioning valve on it, and honestly it's fine. When we brake after a drag pass, the parachute does most of the braking. Now chassis wise, more, the front anti-roll bar has been removed, so there's no anti-roll bar. We have a ETS 6-inch intercooler, air to air, and it's a 3-inch on one side, so all the intercooler piping comes down. That's 3-inch coming out of the turbo, 3-inch on the hot side, comes out as a 4-inch all the way up here to a 102 millimeter hypertune throttle body. So that's kind of the cooling system. The engine itself, I have another video explaining all of it, but it's a Bullet 2JZ 3.2 liter. It has diamond pistons. It has GRP aluminum rods. It has a Brian Crower stroker 90 millimeter stroke crank. So the displacement has been bumped to 3.2 liters. It's got total seal rings, trend pins. The cylinder head is a Head Games race port. The head has stock intake valves, stock size intake valves, and 1 millimeter oversized exhaust valves. It has Ferrea Com Plus intake valves, Ferrea Com Plus Pyromet exhaust valves. It has Ferrea POC valve springs, and it has shimless buckets. It has GSC R2M camshafts. Very, very good cams. We got Brian Crower cam gears. We have Peterson. Well, it's a Magnus Motorsports kit. It's a dry sump kit, so it's a five-stage oil pump. And even the front cover is from Magnus. It's billet. As I mentioned, the big oil pan. It's got a Mizir 55 GPM, I believe, or GPH water pump. So the water is pumped through the head, and it's pumped through the block, and it exits through the back, and it comes back here to this CSF drag radiator. This is a coolant pressure sensor. The fuel system on this car is a Platinum Racing Products fuel system. So it consists of 13 GPM or GPH. I always get those confused, but it's a high flow fuel pump. AN16 feed that goes from this fuel tank. This is a 6-gallon fuel tank. There is a Bosch 044 down there that primes the fuel system before the car starts. But once it primes and the car starts over, there's a AN12 feed that splits into two 10s over there. It feeds the rails, then it goes out of here, and the two returns go to either side of the fuel pressure regulator. This is a Weldon 2047, the biggest regulator they make. And then it exits the bottom and comes right here back to the tank. Okay, the tank is vented here. There's a rollover valve, so in case the car rolls over, this valve will close. We have 18 injectors. There's 7,900 cc of injector per hole. You got two over here, and there's one in there, so you got 3 per hole. So these are all 3 of them are Siemens Deca, 220 pounds. The back 2 were modified by fuel injector development. Mr. Tom, he ported those to flow 2,700 cc each. Yeah, so that's the fuel system. There's a fuel filter under there. It's a 4 Innovations. You can't really see it. No, you can't see it. Ignition system is pretty simple. IGN 1A with fire core wires. Nothing out of the ordinary. All the wiring has been upgraded. This is a mil-spec harness that I've made. I have another video on my channel to go over the harness, but yeah, it's very important that these ignition coils have good wires. They have 20 gauge wires. There's 4 grounds and one positive. Important that you wire those correctly. What else we got? So that's the engine. So you can see the billet block down there. See it shining? We got a PHR, Powerhouse Racing exhaust manifold. As you can see, it's a 3-in-1 system. You can't really see that well, but it's a 3-in-1 manifold. I'll link a picture right here so you can see it better. On the manifolds, it's a Precision Pro Mod 98. That's a Gen 2, so it's a 98 compressor. And it's a 105mm turbine wheel, 5-inch exhaust. It's got an NTK O2 sensor, and that's the module for it. As you can see, the Motec LTC, Motec EGTs. Precision dual 46mm wastegates. The gate goes here and the other one in the back. That's the mag valves for the CO2 control. This sensor is for CO2 pressure. There's the nitrous nozzle, not direct, it's just a fogger. Pretty simple. It just spools the car up. There's the solenoid back there. There's a Peterson remote filter location that has a primer on it. You just put you put a drill on top there and you just prime the system. Yeah, Hyper 2 intake manifold, as you've seen in the other videos. Stock chassis harness. This is one thing that I might change in the future. The stock chassis harness is very heavy, but that's pretty much it. Nothing special about the car. Remove the antenna. Obviously no rear wiper, that's gone. What else? Talked about the brakes, rear suspension, stock everything in there. There's nothing been cut. That's why the car is 33,000 pounds without me. Yeah, we currently switched to this new tire, which is called a Pro Bracket Radial, that I've been liking a lot. It's been very good. So yeah, that's a little explanation about the car, the chassis, the engine. Like I said, it's been 750s, so we're trying to go 6s this year. So stay tuned for more. Take care.